each day. Where there's a will, there's a way.
Good morning. Happy Thursday. And Halloween. We'll get to the reading here in a second. Other than that, I don't really have much to say at the moment. Actually, I have a lot to say, but it doesn't matter. I also forgot to change, so I'll need to do that also. All right, we are all shared up. Morning, Leisure. I'll be back in a second. We'll go with a little bit of Darth Vader today. I'm weird. I don't change clothes until about the middle of the day. It's just, I don't know. Still the same amount of time it's worn. It's just, I will do the best that I can today, but I could give a fuck less about people at the moment. So, yeah, not too big on people at the moment. All right, avoiding controversy. Yay. With the 3-minute mark. Welcome to Daily Trudge. I'm Dion. If you're here, please say hello, whether watching the live or the rewatch. I'm going to change that. Not feeling too fucking festive or anything. We're just going to go with default. Yeah. So, yeah, I told a lot of people yesterday I was really lonely and all I got was a bunch of fucking advice. And I just, no thanks. What it does, it makes me not want to share my feelings anymore. I'd just rather be alone than misunderstood, honestly. So, the only time anything really gets done is if I start yelling. That's when people start actually listening. Otherwise, we got all our thoughts in our heads before I even say anything. And, you know, when somebody, I'm going to tell you, when somebody says they're feeling lonely, advice is like the worst thing. I mean, I appreciate people helping, but it didn't help. It actually made me feel worse. So, at the moment, I don't trust people. It's just how I feel. Yeah. I mean, I have people arguing with me, telling me I'm doing this and I'm doing that. But actually, I'm out here saving your fucking grandchildren. So a thank you would be nice. Maybe I'll just stop. I'll go do my own thing. And Colorado could be 50th then. Because nobody else is going to do anything about it. No. Too much fear. So if you do what I do, you'll lose something. Something you hold dear. And I don't blame you. But I want to hear about it. So there's a good chance that you'll find it even harder to get to know me at this point. Yeah. Tradition 10, Alcoholics Anonymous has no opinion on outside issues, hence the AA name ought never be drawn into public controversy. Never since it began has Alcoholics Anonymous been divided by a major controversial issue. nor has our fellowship ever publicly taken sides on any question in the embattled world. This, however, has been no earned virtue. And I love you too, Leisure. It isn't that I stopped loving everybody, but no. Uh, could almost be said that we were born with it. For, as one old timer recently declared, practically never have I heard a heated religious political reform argument among AA members. So long as we don't argue these matters privately, is a cinch that we never shall publicly. Yeah, you're not going to hear much. Um, we do our best, but these things, sometimes these things affect us, right? Like COVID, it very much affected us, but it was an outside issue. But we still had to talk about it. Sometimes the discussion is this: I got into an argument and it was very political, and I learned my lesson that I shouldn't get into that. See, here's the thing: people are like, "Oh, we don't talk politics." If you can't have a hard conversation and walk away as friends, then maybe you just, I don't know. I don't know. People are, oh, why shouldn't we talk politics amongst ourselves? You can't handle being an adult. But now what they're saying here is it should not be brought into the AA rooms. In other words, the topic is not going to be how are we voting? No, that's no. Talk to your sponsor about that one, right? It's a little too specific, right? Now, if it's situational and it's causing a resentment that might make you go out and drink, then yeah, it's very much a topic. I'm sure I made that clear as mud. I'm sure I did. As by some deep instincts, we A's have known from the very beginning that we must never, no matter what the provocation, publicly take sides in any fight, even a worthy one. Yeah, that we cannot do. You know, our primary purpose: stay sober, help other alcoholics. All history affords us the spectacle of striving nations and groups finally torn asunder because they were designed for or tempted into controversy. Others fell apart because of sheer self righteousness while trying to enforce upon the rest of mankind some millennium of their own specification. In our own times, we have seen millions die in political and economic wars, often spurred by religious and racial differences. We live in the imminent possibility of a fresh Holocaust to determine how men shall be governed and how the products of nature and toil shall be divided among them. That is the spiritual climate in which AA was born and by God's grace has nevertheless flourished. Let us re-emphasize that this reluctance to fight one another or anybody else is not counted as some special virtue which makes us feel superior to other people, nor does it mean that members of Alcoholics Anonymous, now restored as citizens to the world, are going back away from their individual responsibilities to act and see as a right upon issues of our time. So are you going to be a keep my mouth shut, I'm an AA member person? Or are you going to be a productive member of society like you're supposed to be? AA itself does not have any say on outside issues. AA members certainly do. Sure, we do. Stop utilizing the serenity prayer as a way not to do something. People told me that I'm kind of doing it, that I want people to do it my way, or that I'm being controlling, or things like that. There's one way to do it. I'm sorry, but rarely have we seen a person fail. Also means my way or the highway. We just said it a little bit nicer. It's our way or the highway, man. We do it all the time. Oh, what have you ever fired a sponsee? Oh, you have. You can't fire a sponsee. You can't. Nowhere in the book does it tell you to let. Now, you might have somebody that's unwilling. Well, I fired them. You didn't fire them. You just stopped talking to them. You didn't fucking fire them. Come on. Let's get this right. Let's get this straight. People are getting upset with me because I'm like, you're not in your lane. You're not in your lane. You're not a drug addict. I'm an alcoholic and a drug addict. If I took alcohol, cocaine, weed, and ecstasy and put it on the table, you only get one. Which one are you picking? If you picked alcohol, you are an alcoholic. You're not a drug addict. Can you be duly diagnosed? Yes. But what is your drug of choice? That is what we're going for. Because that's the cause and condition. I use drugs to enhance my drinking, but I am not a drug addict. I'm not. But I did just as much drugs as everybody else. I'm not a drug addict. No, I get it. I'm sitting there thinking this morning, I'm 54 and I don't even know who the fuck Dion is or what he wants to do with his life. I just follow the direction of God. It's all I ever do. It's all I ever do. I don't know. We live in the imminent possibility of, oh, we finished that, huh? That is the spiritual climate in which which shall be governed, and how the products of nature and toil shall be divided among them. That is the spiritual climate in which AA was born, and God's grace has nevertheless flourished. Let us re-emphasize that this reluctance to fight one another or anybody else is not counted in some special virtue, which I already did all this. Okay, sorry. Nor does it mean that the members of Alcoholics Anonymous, now restored as citizens of the world, are going to go back from their individual responsibilities to act as they see the right upon the issues of our time. So I'm doing what we're supposed to be doing by going and grabbing these detoxes and all this other shit. Nobody's saying anything, and it's very frustrating. So when it ain't working right, here's the thing. If you don't vote, you don't get to bitch about the president. If you don't vote for the president, it's one of those things. All right. So if you ain't doing it, if you ain't joining me, I don't want to bitch I don't want to hear the bitching about how it's wrong according to you. Oh, you're doing it wrong. Then join us and fucking help us, man. I want to hear you bitching. I want to hear it. Then join. Get on. Do something about it. Put some fucking effort into it. Give up your darn time. Give up your precious, precious time for your hiking and all your other shit you do. Come on. Tired of going to AA and doing 90% of the fucking work. I'm tired of it. Yeah. See, this is what happens when you ignore men. They get mad. I'm hurt. I'm hurt. Not one person gave me a virtual hug. Not one person said it's going to be all right. Nothing. They just took it as a chance to give me advice. And I hear you. But it's advice. I love you. But stop giving me advice, please. I have not been, I don't want to hear other people's advice right now. I will just be honest. I am closed-minded at the moment. I'm closed-minded. No, I'm too hurt. If I don't do that, I will go off. I will go off. So I may be closed-minded. I may be saying don't do that, but do it anyway. I'm not going to tell you what to do. That's not cool. So, but when it comes to AA as a whole, that's quite a different matter. In this respect, we do not enter into public controversy because we know that our society will perish if it does. We conceive survival and the spread of Alcoholics Anonymous to be something of far greater importance than the weight we could collectively throw back of any other cause. Since recovery from alcoholism is life itself to us, It is imperative that we preserve in full strength of what our means of survival. Okay. Good afternoon, Patricia. It's good to see you. Now, in this case, when I'm working all of this, I do not go to these people and tell them I'm a member of AA. I don't. I just tell them I've been working in this field for a very long time. That's what I say. They figure it out all on their own. They do. Okay. They figure it out. Sure they do. Okay. But even then I'm going to qualify it, and I tell them once they figure it out, this is the conversation. Yes, I'm a member of AA, but I do not speak for AA. So I am not your AA representative. I am Dion, a guy in Northland trying to help. I hope that makes sense, but I cannot speak for AA as well. And they totally understand. They go, oh, you're an individual trying to help out and do things. Yes. Yep, that's it. We conceive that survival. Since recovery from alcoholism is life itself, it is imperative that we preserve in full strength our means of survival. Maybe this sounds as though Alcoholics and AA had suddenly gone peaceful and become one great big happy family. Of course, this isn't so at all. Human beings that we are, we squabble. Before we leveled off a bit, AA looked more like one prodigious squabble than anything else, at least on the surface. At least they were willing to have hard conversations. People aren't even willing to do that anymore. They're just not. A corporation director who had just voted a company expenditure of $100,000 would appear at AA business meeting and blow his top over an outlay of $25 worth of needed postage stamp. Disliking the attempt to manage a group, half of its members might angrily rush off to form another group more to their liking. Elders, temporarily turned into Pharisee, have sulked. Bitter attacks on the directed people against people suspected of mixed motives. Despite their din, our puny rose never did AA a particle of harm. They were just a part and parcel of learning to work and live together. Let it be noted, too, that they were almost concerned with ways to make money, AA more effective, how to do the most good for the most alcoholics. All right. Yeah, people have mixed motives in AA. I was in a group conscious. There's a guy in there. He's been around the program for a while, but he has to take a vote for some of the donations to go to opening a 3-quarter house, and the answer was no. We don't do that. That's tradition 6, right? And I hear what he's saying. I do, and I love his idea. And I wish AA went for things like that, but we don't. Okay. If we did, I'd have my halfway house open. And I could have gone that route. I could have gone the same route everybody else is doing it right now. You know, why not? Why not open it up? You know, I could just go. You know what I could do? I could just go open a house, shove 10 guys in there, charge them $1,000 a piece, and just say good luck. I could do that too, just like everybody else. Why not? And then people wouldn't say, "Hey, Dion, why are you not making money?" Do you think that would fly for me? No, I'm not willing to take the consequence of that action. We can't be throw it against the wall and hope it sticks. This isn't sales. We're dealing with other people's lives, the lives of others to come. Those are your children. Those are your grandchildren. And I tell you now, in Colorado, if we don't do something now, your grandchildren don't stand a chance. You may even have to go to their fucking funeral. What I'm dealing with is pretty darn serious. And I don't know why people can't see it. They're all Rule 62. I'm like, this has nothing to do with Rule 62. I'm not taking myself too darn seriously. I'm saying that another kid just died while I was talking. You don't want to say anything? I don't know, man. And I'm talking in general. I'm not talking about you. All right. I'm just talking in general. And I'd probably take, take what you hear today, take what you need, and leave the rest. Right? Because I don't have the best attitude today. Um, and I'm going to tell you, I don't fucking care. I don't. I don't care. The Washington, I have to. Yesterday I was feeling really lonely. Nobody did anything, so I have to survive. And the way that I survive is then fuck you. Yeah, I almost wore my. I used to be a people person, and then people ruined it shirt today because that's how I feel. I'll get through it by tomorrow. I may love everybody again, but as for actually, and I do love everybody, but I don't feel like helping today. I don't. I don't feel like going. I don't feel like going to my noon meeting. I'm gonna ask somebody else to run the 5 o'clock meeting because I ain't going. I'm not going. So, the Washingtonian Society, a movement among alcoholics which started in Baltimore a century ago, almost discovered the answer to alcoholism. At first, the society was composed entirely of alcoholics trying to help one another. Um, so the Washingtonians, it was a great group. Okay, they missed out on one thing, and I believe it was. Oh man, um, my mind just totally went blank. But anyway, Ingrid told us why the other day, and I can't remember. I think it's because they went for money or something. I don't remember. I don't. So hopefully they'll tell us here. She even gave us the answer. Okay. So the Washingtonian Society, a movement of which started in Baltimore a century ago, 1830 is when the Washingtonians would have been around. And alcoholism and all of its consequences and the way that it works is not any different. It hasn't changed. See all these newfangled ways getting sober. Hell, anymore, you can't tell what's sober, what's recovery anymore because there's so many people out there living their best life. Okay. There's a part in the big book talks about a little boy whistling in the dark. I tell you now, that's all it is. It's all it is. I don't know the actual percentage of those of us that make it, but it isn't very high. It's not that high. It will not be. About 50% of the people in AA make it. That I do know. But think of all the numbers that have to happen before that. What about the amount of people that found AA or that even found recovery? See? And if we're not out there searching, if we are not actively seeking for those people in our daily lives, then I am not doing what I'm supposed to be doing. And the consequence will be sure and swift. I will go out and drink again. It may happen 2 days before you die. Yeah, it is. It's trendy right now. And it's making it even harder for people to find recovery. Okay. So October was sober curious. Now November, they do this. It happens like leisure. It happens like every 5 years. That drives me fucking nuts. I don't need to deal with that right now too, because it affects what I do. Yes, very much. I watched this whole thing on mocktails. Okay. Now, if I brought up mocktails on Facebook, I guarantee you I would get a lot more replies. But I don't get that many replies because of what I do. I don't. At this point, I'm going to remove you before I argue with you anymore. You know? Halloween and these costumes going around making fun of people in recovery from people in recovery. And they're like, we're not a glum lot. I'm like, you're not even in AA. You don't get to do that. And this has nothing to do with being a glum lot. It has to do with I am not okay with utilizing somebody else's demise for my own pleasure. No. Do you know how dangerous that is for me? Maybe it's not for you yet. But if you're an alcoholic like me, we have to use things like imperative. All right. The early members foresaw that they should dedicate themselves to this sole aim. In many respects, the Washingtonians were akin to AA of today. Their membership had passed the 100,000 mark. They didn't get many bigger than that. I heard some people say, oh, it's as big as AA is today. No, it never was. No. 100,000 mark. Had they been left to themselves and had stuck to their one goal, they might have found the rest of the answer. But this didn't happen. Instead, the Washingtonians permitted politicians and reformers, both alcoholic and non alcoholic, to use society for their own purposes. There you go. Yeah, actually, yeah, I agree with that. Yeah. You know, I know I'm gonna go through this life with very few friends, but I've never really had friends, so um about the time I think I kind of got it, you know. I don't know. When I say I don't know, I don't know. Abolition of slavery, for example, was a story political issue then. Soon, Washingtonians speaking violently and publicly took sides to this question. Maybe society could have survived the abolition controversy, but it didn't have a chance from the moment it determined to reform America's drinking habits. When the Washingtonians became temperance crusaders within very few years, they had completely lost their effectiveness in helping alcoholics. Yeah, why would you want to? If I went into an AA meeting and they were discussing men and women's sports, kind of a controversial thing right now, is it not? No, and people have their opinions on it. Doesn't belong in an AA meeting. Now, as an AA member or a person named Dion who lives in Northland, I very much have my opinion, but I don't bring it up here. I might change the topic. You know, if I change the topic, let's talk about men and women's sports, then it'd be different. But God wouldn't be there. AA wouldn't be there. It'd be a different topic. In fact, I would even speak differently. I would use different words. Yeah. It's called speakies. And when I was talking to a lawyer yesterday, we have our own I'm like, we have our own TLAs. She's like, what? 3-letter acronym. She's like, oh yeah, we have a lot of TLAs. I'm like, and you're right? So if I'm a counselor, DOC means drug of choice. But all of you know it is something different, don't you? Department of Corrections means several different things. It just depends on what field you're in talking about it. Okay. When the Washingtonians became temperance crusaders, within a very few years, they had completely lost their effectiveness. The lesson to be learned from the Washingtonians was not overlooked by Alcoholics Anonymous. As we surveyed the wreck of that movement, early AA members resolved to keep our society out of public controversy. Thus was laid the cornerstone for Tradition 10. Alcoholics Anonymous has no opinion on outside issues, hence the AA name ought never be drawn into public controversy. All right. So, yeah, and let's see this was the daily reflection. So let's see what the daily reflection has to say. As an AA member and sponsor, I know I can cause real damage if I yield to the temptation and give opinions and advice on another's medical, marital, or religious problems. Now, I love everybody. Right? Yesterday, when I said I was lonely, this what happened. People started to become my therapist. They want to help. I get it. We want to help. We do. And there's nothing wrong with that part. Don't think I don't chalk up to me not knowing that you're helping, because I do. Right? But you're not a doctor, counselor, lawyer. You can't tell me that stuff. You can't. No. See, people started giving me advice. I didn't ask for advice. If I want advice, I'll ask for advice, right? But we're trying to help. But let's go back to that when and how to help. You know, if you said you were feeling lonely, would you want unwarranted advice? Would you want unsolicited advice on how to make your life better? Is that what you would want? No? Oh, me either. Me either. Hi, Ingrid. It's good to see you. I'm not a doctor, counselor, or lawyer. I cannot tell anyone how he or she should live. However, I can share how I came through similar situations without drinking and how AA steps and traditions helped me in dealing with my life. So, all right, that's gonna be it for today. I don't know whether it'll be back or not. Probably not. If I have my choice, none of you would hear from me for weeks. But that ain't gonna happen. It's what my brain does. Like, well, fine. If other people make me feel lonely, then I'll just fucking disappear. So you gotta be careful with that stuff. See, it was the type of loneliness where if I didn't have what I had, I may not be here. That's how fucking serious this shit is, man. You know? And I get treated a lot differently even in AA. Even in AA, I get treated a lot differently than other people. And it drives me crazy. Fuck Halloween. Nah. Told you, not in the mood. Yeah, but happy Halloween. I'm gonna turn my porch light off. So maybe. I don't know. I don't end up getting I'm in the basement. Kids might, or they might go trick or treating. So I'll try and have a better attitude, but just ain't feeling it today. So thank you everybody for being here. I appreciate it. I love you.